rhetoric and get about the business of changing people's lives. Now, we've got to settle just one more, because in a lot of ways, my patriotism would. Family values are the way we communicate our commitment to one another through sacrifice, through understanding the lessons of Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, that we are our brother's keeper, that in a civil society we truly owe something to one another. And folks, that's what's at stake this election. Kicking 500,000 Kentuckians off the insurance rolls with the stroke of a pen is talent. It is not Christian. Maybe this side of the aisle should put down the books of Ayn Rand and pick up the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
That was a really good line by Adam Edelen. I'm impressed with Adam Edelen. Vote for Adam Edelen. I remember actually I was on Facebook typing about how Adam Edelen is an awesome badass. He's an auditor, so he's been auditing the shit out of everybody, which is what an auditor should do. Tates, the old honest Tates, Combs, there's a big treasurer debacle where the treasurer just took all the money and left, and the auditor wound up, they tried to pin it on the auditor. The auditor got censured, but they didn't get kicked out. But that is, if I'm auditor, I would want to audit everybody's books, not as an offense to anybody, but just to make sure that the money is being spent the way, the way it's supposed to. Even if, you are good and honest, there may be certain ways of, doing accounting that you could sort of save some money. So I'm not against an auditor auditing everybody's books. So that's good for Adam Edelen. Another big thing, you just saw a clip just now about him actually standing up in favor of Obamacare, Connect, healthcare. 500,000 people are going to get kicked off in Kentucky if Matt Bevin becomes elected. That is literally death panels. They're going to kick, 500,000 people off Connect. And that's, if you want to talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that is life. Health is life. And health care is a human right. So there's lots of things I could say great about Adam Edelen. He got some compliments from Rachel Maddow. He's supposedly really close to Mike Harmon. And I talked about this on Facebook, and somebody liked the fact that I said I didn't know much about Mike Harmon. Now, what I remember from his Fancy Farm speech was that he was a bigot. He was a, anti-gay asshole. A Republican, he just wants to all for him and fuck everybody else. So we already know what he wants, right? Yeah, I could look into him more, but Adam Edelen is such an impressive politician, and the person who did it, it's like, hey, I'm your friend, you said something significant, so fuck your life. I hate when people do that. They want to, he liked that I was admitting my ignorance on something, but that's the key to wisdom. If you don't ever admit your ignorance, you pretend that you know it all, and nobody likes to know it all. So there's a whole bunch of things. The rape kits, he's been talking about how, what a rape kit is. I looked it up. It's a sexual assault evidence collection kit, a set of items used by medical personnel for gathering and preserving physical evidence following allegation of sexual assault. This can be used in rape investigation. The kit was developed by Louis R. Vitullo and was referred to for years as the Vitullo kit, is colloquially referred to as a rape kit or rape test kit. The term applies also to collected evidence for a specific case. So he's gone around and seen that they've had untested rape kits. They, either have the kits or it hasn't been tested, so they've just been sitting and collecting dust for, so long. So that's good. That's good that he's able to put this important issue in the limelight, because rape is horrendous, right? And I'm anti-murder, anti-rape, anti-violence, and anti-stealing. Those are the four big evils that I feel like we got to. Do we have a common core? Do we have a common moral core between all of us? Are we all on the same page? And another thing I liked about Adam Edelen is that he had spoke up against child abuse. And that means that, nobody coming out of Gallatin County is going to become Adam Edelen. And there's even Republicans who had upped the charge. If you had killed a child, then you wouldn't just be, it's not just your property that you had killed, but you would actually be tried for murder. So they had actually increased it, and that was the Republicans. So if the Republicans are doing things to make child abuse happen less and less, And, you know, people that I'm around, it seems like 13% of Kentuckians vote. So that means there's 87% of dumb motherfuckers out here. And, you know, everybody's got an opinion. It's like, oh, I don't know nothing about that, but I do have an opinion about it. Well, if you don't know nothing, then maybe you shouldn't be opinionated about it. You should be opinionated about, you know, things that you know. So, some background. He grew up in Meade County. I'm impressed with him. Rachel Maddow said after his Fancy Farm speech that he was like a small Bill Clinton. He says, put down the book of Ayn Rand and pick up the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So he's out-Christianing the, you know, Matt Bevin type of Christians. And he was, let's see, chief of staff for Steve Beshear. So he's actually been very much in the center of Kentucky government, the state government. See, born in Meade County, 1974, so he is 8 years older than me. His mother was 2 months shy of her 17th birthday when he was born, so he was actually born, you know, by a teen mother. Then they divorced when he was young, and he was divided between his mother's home in Louisville and his father's home in rural Meade County. So he kind of has 1 foot in the city, 1 foot in the country. So he's actually well-rounded. He does a good job. He's a good speaker. A lot of people are saying, why didn't he run for governor? Some people think he's aiming for the Senate seat. So, let's see, he was the director of the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security. So that's fascinating. All right. So, you know, when he became auditor, him and James Comer went after Richie Farmer and wound up putting him in jail because of the corruption that had happened as the farming commissioner. So he led an effort to reform special districts, represents $2.7 billion layer of government. This is from Wikipedia. The effort resulted in a report and a database that allowed the public to see basic financial information about roughly 1,200 entities such as libraries, fire districts, and health departments. I mean, a lot of boring stuff, but there's a lot of, you know, House Bill 1, it was dubbed by the Speaker of the House, passed with broad partisan support. I don't know. He's done a lot of good things. You know, he's a good speaker. He's done a lot of good things. He's a Democrat. He's a good man, and he's probably one of the few good men actually in this race. And he inspires me. I feel like there is hope for Kentucky because you have Adam Edelen. Now he's got to get votes. People got to go out and go vote for him. Mike Harmon. I'll look up Mike Harmon a little bit more, but there's no fucking way that, you know, his sort of luster, his golden, you know, boy luster can be diminished by Mark Harmon. Adam Edelen is a badass. And we should vote for Adam Edelen. Re-elect Adam Edelen for state auditor. That's the Herald Leader has given him the endorsement. Says he's got an impressive record by taking on complicated issues and untangling sticky government messes, even at political risk to himself. You know, he stood up for Obamacare. He's standing up for child abuse. He is standing up for compassion and love and goodness. You know, why we're going to kick out 500,000 Kentuckians off into the streets and have no health insurance. People are finally getting the care that they've desperately needed. Kentucky is a poor state. 1 million poor people here. 1 million poor people. Number 1 for cancer. Number 1 for every type of cancer out there. Lung, cervix, you know, colon cancer. Any cancer out there, Kentucky is number 1. We need health care. We need health insurance. So the rape kits, his stance on child abuse and health care, and he's audited the shit out of everybody. He's done his job, you know, at a remarkable, successful, just a fantastic job. And so, you know, the more I read about him, I'm sure the more I like about him, the more that he has accomplished, you know, the more that his sort of fans can say, hey, go vote for this guy. But he's a good man. He's a good man. I like him. I'm impressed with him out of, you know, everybody, out of all the Democrats, out of all the Republicans. Adam Edelen just, you know, stands above all the rest. So, I guess that's it. In short, there's this last article here. They're talking about Democrats lead GOP and Kentucky TV ad spending, since that's all that matters. They're not, what they've been doing to the Curtises is fucking ridiculous. Do we not need a conversation? Do we not need to talk about all these issues? Well, you got all this money. You got to go along with the whole show, right? Just go along with the show. If Jack only thinks that Matt is his competition and he's running to the right, he's running to the left, and then they just kind of push independent out, I think it would be in Matt Bevin's interest probably to elevate Drew Curtis, but Drew Curtis is a conservative in his own heart. He is a conservative. It's just that he is so scientifically oriented that when you actually look at these issues, a lot of the issues require liberal solutions. And so he can come across as some sort of populist progressive when he's more of a conservative populist progressive. I mean, he's like, I guess he's not left, right, he's just sort of a moderate. And, you know, using science, that tickled me to death that Heather Curtis was quoted as saying, "I like science." That's big news, Kentucky. Go with the people that believe in science, okay? If you believe in fairy tales, then your entire basis for a worldview is flocked. But science is evidence, right? You know, gravity. I drop this and it falls, and I drop it every time and it keeps falling. It's going to keep on falling, right? That's scientific. That was an experiment, and my prediction now is that when I let go, it'll fall, and therefore it happens. So science taught me gravity. Science taught me a lot of things. Really, just how you're supposed to think is, you know, with science. So, Adam Edelen, he's running. He is the auditor currently, and he is running for. Is he running for auditor again? Whatever the fuck he's running for, vote for Adam Edelen. Adam Edelen kicks ass, you know, through and through. He's one of the few good candidates. And while I'll probably vote for Andy Beshear, Andy Beshear isn't as confident, isn't as hungry, isn't as I don't know, rural and working class. It seems like, you know, he might have had a little silver spoon in his mouth. Whereas I probably will vote for Andy Beshear for Attorney General over Whitney Westerfield. He's a Democrat, and that means a lot of things. You know, Whitney Westerfield wants to be the chief prosecutor of Kentucky, but he's an anti-gay bigot. He's a homophobic piece of shit. But my point with comparing Andy versus Adam Edelen is charismatic and dynamic and exciting and energizing, whereas Andy Beshear, I think they're just sort of doing this bullshit game, and he's probably riding on his name, you know, since his dad was governor. And there is continuity. If you want Kentucky government to have continuity between the two, I don't know if that's always a good or bad thing. Supposedly he was in, you know, I don't know. We'll talk about him, actually, Andy Beshear coming up. But Johnny Masters out of Winchester, Kentucky, Red Roof Inn. Viva la Revolution. Peace.